Gale.
I'm Gale, and this is our project,
American Military Intervention and the End of Japanese Isolationism.
It all began in 1853 when the American Commodore Matthew C. Perry landed in the Edo Bay with his Black Fleet. He forced our borders open, initiated a wave of cultural and economic exchange between Japan and the West, and we industrialized. My name is Tokugawa no Kitao, and my family used to rule Japan. Now, barbaric Western notions have befouled our culture from the ground up.
My name is Shimazu no Iwase, and my father left me to be raised by a family that was not his. I was well acquainted with his propensity for short-sightedness before I could even walk. He has consistently failed to understand the deep schism that already lay at the heart of Japan, between those in favor of isolating ourselves from the rest of the world and those who understand the value of learning from Westerners. Our encounter with Commodore Perry forced us to realize the threat we faced from Western nations, to realize that the Tokugawa shogunate was far too decentralized to fight back if we were attacked. My clan, and many others in the south of Japan, created a military alliance by 1868 to re-centralize power under the Meiji Emperor.
Their foolish movement became known as the Meiji Restoration. The following are excerpts from correspondence and conversation between myself and Iwase-kun. Hopefully, you will come to understand how everything I held dear about my country fell apart. Scribe, begin a letter. August 14th, 1853, to Shimazu no Iwase-kun in Satsuma Province. Iwase-kun, I would hope that the laziness of summer has not overtaken your drive to study. I hear you are an excellent student, and as such, I feel it is time to direct your attention to some modern issues. You have been born into a time of much conflict regarding our attitude toward foreigners, and I would hope to impress upon you the value of our current system before some political agitator convinces you otherwise. Japan's politics are a game of perfect balance. Ever since we deposed the Toyotomi clan in 1600, your family and the families of every other lord have been vassals to mine. The Tokugawa shogunate keeps the lords in check, and the game plays on. It's been a month since Commodore Perry arrived. He came seeking to incite panic, to open our borders to America and end our 200 years of isolation. He turned his guns upon us and was allowed to land at Kurihama. The letter he gave our delegates there has since caused some otherwise well-reasoned men to completely lose their minds. There are many who now seem to believe the prudent decision is simply letting in whoever sails here with enough cannons. Those people are wrong. What do you know of Sakoku, our closed-door policy? My ancestor, Tokugawa no Iemitsu-sama, wrote the Sakoku Edict of 1635 as part of his efforts to keep the scourge of Catholicism out of our country. In the 200 years since, we have only allowed trade with the Chinese, the Dutch, the Ainu, the Koreans, and the Ryukyuans. The importance of diminishing foreign influence in Japan cannot be overstated. These Westerners are dangerous, and their only goal is to turn Japan into a Christian country. I know you live close to the island of Dejima, where we allow the Dutch traders to land, but even they cannot be trusted. There are many in Japan who have been captured by the allure of Western technology, undoubtedly even among your peers, but pay no attention to their rebellious nonsense. Maintaining the purity of Japanese culture is paramount. I look forward to your reply.
Scribe, today's the 18th of April, 1856, right? Please address the letter to Tokugawa no Kitao-san in Edo, the capital city. Please accept my sincerest condolences on the great losses in the Jishinkaji fire last November. Forgive me, but I must ask, was the fear of Catholic influence really the only reason the shogunate restricted trade? I know there were whispers of other lords using Western connections to grow their own wealth and power, perhaps even to the degree of challenging the Tokugawa. If that was a concern, then controlling and taxing that trade was a brilliant political maneuver. But of course, the Tokugawa shogunate is no stranger to political cleverness, maintaining a firm grasp on so many noblemen despite naive attempts to grab power is admirable. I am naive too, no doubt. Perhaps that is what allows my fascination with those who argue in favor of changing the nature of our borders. Does Sakoku truly benefit us? Would we not stand to benefit more from working with other countries more openly? Think of how cowed we were by our first encounter with Commodore Perry. Think of how cowed we were when he returned with just a third of the American Navy. We can no longer afford to hold ourselves back from new technology. I have heard stories of industrialization, of armies, of factories and smoke and power, the likes of which we've never seen. Westerners could teach us the secret to that strength. So, please excuse my youthful enthusiasm as I most humbly suggest you reconsider your position. I eagerly await your reply.
Scribe, begin a letter. October 20th, 1866, to Shimazu no Iwase-kun in Satsuma Province. 12 years since Commodore Perry landed here a second time, and the Tokugawa are besieged by entitled barbarians from every direction. It saddens me greatly to see your family choose to participate in such ridiculous behavior. I fear they will pay for their foolishness with their heads. What is this Sacho alliance? Do you truly think that raising your swords against the shogunate will force us to surrender our power to the Meiji Emperor? The only thing these Westerners have taught you is foolishness. When Commodore Perry sailed here to foster friendship and commerce, his true meaning was made abundantly clear when that American consul, Townsend Harris, negotiated his Treaty of Amity and Commerce with the smell of gunpowder still fresh in our noses. His definition of amity seems to mean giving Americans the freedom to live in my city and not be governed under any Japanese law. You praise my family for political cleverness, yet all the cleverness in Japan cannot defeat one man installed by America's military power. I fear we can no longer bear the weight of these unequal treaties. All I can see is a horde of foreign devils waiting to pounce on us once we've killed enough of our own people. If your faction wins this conflict, it will spell the death of Japan. If mine wins, I can only pray we maintain the strength to fight off the inevitable flood of Western aggressors. I will always fight to keep my country and my culture alive. I hope one day you will see reason in joining that fight. So, the robber baron of Japan has come to visit a feeble old man. I'm honored.
Japan has so few natural resources. Someone had to invite the Westerners in to help us revolutionize our manufacturing. I will not apologize for my role in developing our skilled and educated workforce that has propelled us into the modern world so quickly.
And why would you apologize when that role has deepened your pockets so tremendously? The Westerners have poisoned your mind, and the mind of our Meiji Emperor, and the mind of every other man I hoped I could trust. They flood in and infest us like rats, and I doubt they will stop until our entire country is theirs.
But you must see by now that open exchange with Western countries is a good thing. Look at our textiles, our banks, our railroads, our government.
Just because you have been allowed to line your pockets with the meager crumbs of what they make by exploiting us does not give you an excuse to abandon what I have taught you. But my old eyes are not yet blind enough to ignore that opening our borders was inevitable.
The forces were already in motion, Kitao-san. Commodore Perry and Consul Harris merely lit the fire for us.
Perhaps you are right. They have certainly shown us the extent of our arrogance.
Many of us suffered from arrogance in the past.
And many of us still do. We are both fools, Iwase-kun. My foolishness would have kept Japan hidden away from the rest of the world, and yours has brought about the end of its culture.
The evolution of that culture into something better, stronger, smarter, and richer.
Evolution comes with the death of the previous generation, does it not?
And yet you are still alive.
I should go rest. Good night, Iwase.
Oyasumi nasai, Kitao-san. Kitao-sama, perhaps I will visit a temple and ask them to help properly put you to rest, as I seem to have inherited some portion of your fear since your passing. I would ask you to cease haunting me at your earliest convenience. Fukoku Kyohei. Enrich the country, strengthen the military. Japan lives under that slogan now. We have made our treaties and opened our borders, and the end of Sakoku has driven us to previously unforeseen heights of industry. We have worked our way up to economic and military parity with the West. You and I both spent our lives working to make Japan better. You tried to stop us from becoming a Western nation in all but name, and I believe we could maintain our culture and industrialize at the same time. Now, we have begun to colonize everything we set our eyes on, and that is the most Western act I can think of. Perhaps next we will see the Meiji Emperor convert to Catholicism. I've begun to realize the real significance of Commodore Perry's mission. Japan's first treaty signed with a foreign power would have been far more unfair to us had it been with any country but America, with any motivation but safe harbor for American sailors in our waters. And so, Japan is stronger than it has ever been, and we proved it in the conflicts against China and Russia. We are the first Oriental nation to defeat a modern Western power, and it is with no small irony that I thank the West itself for it. They showed us how to build an industrial base that could support a truly modern army, and in exchange, we have allowed them to use our country as a stepping stone for their interests in the rest of Asia. But make no mistake, Kitao-sama, Japan is no doormat. We are learning from the West, certainly, but we are showing the entire world what it means to be Japanese and proud. Perhaps that will serve to comfort your spirit. I still live in a time of much conflict, Kitao-sama. May you find peace in your